The purpose of this video is for you to be able to name binary covalent molecules. Now, binary means there's two, and in this case, we're going to have two different types. So not just two atoms, but two different types of atoms. And covalent means that these two atoms are, when they bond, they're sharing the electrons, and the electrons are like relatively in between them. And we're going to give them a name, and we're going to figure out what's the rules to naming these molecules. Now, first thing, covalently bonded molecules come when you have two different types of atoms or two atoms from this section of the periodic table, this darkened section, the non-metal section, two nonmetals. Now, the naming that we're going to talk about today is only for when you have two different types of these atoms, like oxygen and fluorine, nitrogen and chlorine, and that kind of stuff. And we'll go over some examples in a moment. Now, the general form of the name is that you go for the prefix, and a prefix tells you the number of the atoms that are present, and sorry, I had to pause it, so I had to go. I'm not sure where I was, but you have the general form of the names are you have your prefix, and your prefix is a word that represents a number. Then you've got the name of the element, and the element that comes first is the less electronegative. And electronegativity describes how much atom attracts these bonding electrons that they share. And then you have a prefix again, and then you've got the name of the second element, and then you affix the suffix "ide" at the end of the name of the element, the second one. Like oxygen becomes oxide and sulfur becomes sulfide. Now these prefixes, these prefixes are mono for one, di, tri, tetra, penta, hexa, septa, octa, nona, and deca. Those are the prefixes. Now let's go over some examples. So, NCl3, that's nitrogen, and it's mono, so it's not, when the first element is a single element, you drop the mono. It's understood that it's going to be a single element if you just say the term, so it's nitrogen. It's not mono nitrogen, it's just nitrogen, and then it's trichloride. Now here's another one. You've got CO2. Now it's not carbon monocarbon, it's carbon dioxide. And here's a third example, N2O5. Now there's two nitrogen, as you can see in the little picture that I drew there, and it's therefore becomes dinitrogen pentaoxide. Now, just so we go over the general form again, you've got a prefix, that's the mono, di, so forth, and you drop the prefix mono on the first, and then it's the name of your element. And then you've got the same thing, except you go with the "ide" on the end, and your has to be two from this section, two nonmetals, two different types for this binary naming system. And the prefixes are mono, di, tri, tetra, penta, hexa, septa, octa, nona, and deca.